My wife is cheating on me with Jesus Christ, and I'm really pained, and this has caused me so much headache and so much stress in my own home. My wife and I have been married for over 20 years, and we have 3 children now. I married my wife at the age of 19 years while I was 25 at the time. My parents were very successful farmers who were into both animal rearing and crop production, and each week we had people coming from different parts of the city to buy our fresh harvested crops and animals. So though we were living in the village, we were okay financially, and I could comfortably say that we were one of the few families that could be called rich at the time in our village. When my parents became very old and they were no longer active, I took full control over our farm, and I later added my expertise and other knowledge that I have acquired from other farmers. So with time, our farming business grew even better and bigger, hence we earned a lot of money as the years passed. My parents were traditionalists, and they had zero belief or faith in God or Christianity. Even though a few times some church guys came around to preach the word of God to them, but they were simply not obliged, or they were simply not perturbed as to what the Christianity faith was all about. As the years passed, Christianity became more rampant in our village, with few churches springing in and around our village. But I was still not really enthused about the Christian faith because I didn't really understand their teachings, and the Christian faith did not really make any meaning to me. I felt like the stories in the Bible were just fairy tales and they didn't make sense to me. So I did not join any of the churches. And my wife and children equally did not join any of the Christian faith or any of the churches around. So essentially, at this point in our lives, I was not practicing any faith. I wasn't a Christian, neither was I a traditionalist. I was just there, and I wasn't really active in any religious group. Then, 3 years ago, my parents unfortunately passed away, and though they were very old, I was completely shattered. And as if that particular year wanted to punish me, there was a very heavy rainfall for days, and most of our farms were buried in the rain. And we lost a huge farm crops that year. A lot of our animals also died, and our family had not been the same ever since again. And we had to start all over again. And just when we're picking up the pieces and try to start our lives all over again, a bigger disaster struck. Our last son, who was just 10 years at the time, sadly fell sick. We started to treat him with some home remedies by boiling some herbs for him to drink. But his ailment only got worse by the day. So we rushed him to the clinic 4 villages away from our village. As soon as we rushed into the clinic, we were told to quickly take him to a bigger hospital in town, which we did. And after a series of tests and examination, it was discovered that our son had a growing tumor in his head, and an urgent surgery needed to be performed on him immediately before it spread to his brain and rendered him useless. Now, after mentioning the amount of money that we needed to pay for the surgery, the sad news was that we simply couldn't raise the money involved. So I spoke to some of my colleague farmers from our village, but they said they couldn't help me with the said amount because the amount involved was very huge. I became desperate, and I didn't know what to do at this point in my life. While I went around trying to raise the money for my son's surgery, my wife, on the other hand, was with him in the hospital, making sure that everything was going on well. Then one day, when I went to visit them at the hospital like I usually did, my wife told me about some church members who came to the hospital to pray for the sick in the hospital, and they encouraged her to give her life to Christ, which she did. I didn't really bother because at this point in my life, all I wanted was money for my son's surgery and not my wife accepting to be a Christian. Then on my next visits, my wife gave me the sweetest news of my life. She explained that one of the church members volunteered to pay for our son's surgery, and the church even went further to raise some money for her in order to pay for little expenses while she was still in the hospital with our son. And I was really overjoyed and very, very grateful. I immediately requested to see this benevolent person to thank him or her, but sadly I was told that the person wanted to remain anonymous. Well, I sent my words of gratitude to this person through my wife. The surgery was later done and it was very successful. And after a few weeks in the hospital, we were discharged and we came back home and our lives came back to normal. But my wife is now a Christian and she also encouraged our children to become Christian like her, and now they all go to church. Now, this is where I have a problem with all this Christianity business in my home now. My wife will now wake up in the middle of the night praying and saying weird things, which I later learned that it is called speaking in tongues. What broke the camel's back for me is when my wife now adopted to calling her Jesus sweet names like Daddy Jesus, Darling Jesus, Sweet Jesus, Jesus is my everything, my all, my sweetheart, and my life. Anytime she prayed, this sweet name calling of a Jesus Christ never stopped. And honestly, this is making me so jealous and making me feel as though my wife is cheating on me with this Jesus guy. I mean, what kind of romantic prayer is that? Who even prays like they are professing their love to their significant other? Who even does that? These are names that should be for me as a husband and not some strange Jesus guy that she had never seen or met before. When I asked her to stop using those romantic names for that Jesus guy, she told me that she couldn't stop because it was her sweet Jesus and her sweet darling Jesus that saved her son's life at the hospital by sending an angel to pay for our son's surgery. I love my wife very much and I love my family very much. But this new development about her Christian faith and her special way of praying is getting on my nerves and particularly making me jealous because honestly, I feel she is cheating on me with this Jesus Christ guy. How do I bring sanity to my home again and change the mind of my wife to stop calling this Jesus guy such romantic and sweet names? Wow, this is indeed a very interesting story. I believe if you are a true Christian, you will certainly understand the position of this woman and why she feels her Jesus or her darling Jesus saved her son's life. Well, as to whether this man should feel jealous because her wife now calls Jesus sweet names like darling Jesus, sweet Jesus, Jesus my everything, I think it has to do with her immense gratitude towards God for saving her child's life. And I don't see why her husband should feel so jealous or threatened by her wife's prayers. Well, guys, what do you make of this story? Do you think the man's jealousy is justified because of the names his wife uses in her prayers? Going forward, what advice would you give to him in order to have a sane home since he is still not a Christian and therefore he doesn't understand the ways and the faith of Christendom or Christianity? Kindly leave your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section, and please do well to watch my other videos as well, and please do well to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification for more videos. And to our word for this story is stressor. Stressor is something or a situation or an event that causes someone great worry or emotional difficulty or a negative effect on the body. For example, Mr. Dixon's financial situation has been a major stressor over the past few months. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And please don't allow anybody to be a stressor or anything to be a stressor in your life this week or in this month. I'll see you in the next video. It's bye for now.